alaikum wa rahmatullah. Any voice? Okay, sure. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalam ala Imam al-Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een amma ba'd. Believing brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to this another of our sittings. As it was advertised by the admins, our topic today is Allah's blessings to mankind. Allah Ta'ala has told us in the Holy Quran that mankind is ungrateful to his Lord. So in Surah 100, verses 6 to 8, Allah said, Innal insana li rabbihi lakanud wa innahu ala dhalika lashahid wa innahu lihubbil khair lashadid. Surah 100, verses 6 to 8. Verily, man is ungrateful to his Lord, and he himself is a witness to his own ungratefulness. And in the love of wealth he is vicious, atrocious, and unscrupulous. So we do not want to be among those who are ungrateful to Allah. So because of that, this topic was prepared, Allah's blessings to mankind. We do not want to take Allah's blessings for granted. So this topic is important, and its importance cannot be overemphasized. Allah Ta'ala told us in Surah Ibrahim, Surah 14, verse 34, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَظَلُومٌ كَفَّارٌ. Surah 14, verse 34. If you try to count the many blessings of Allah which He has bestowed upon you, you will never be able to do so. Verily, man is ever ungrateful, and he is a dhaloom. Surah 14, verse 34. So Allah said, if you try to count His many blessings which He has bestowed upon you, you won't be able to count such blessings. And He gave all of you. And if you count the blessings of Allah, never will you be able to count them. Verily, man is indeed an extreme wrongdoer, a disbeliever, and ingrate. In order for you to pass the test of gratefulness, you need to pay attention to the three dimensions of gratitude. So the next chapter is the three dimensions of gratitude. The first dimension, the three dimensions of gratitude. In order to pass the test for gratitude, you need to pay attention to the three dimensions of gratitude. We have a downpour here in the Caribbean, so you expect to hear rain outside. The first is to recognize the blessings of Allah with your heart. The three dimensions of gratitude. Where's the notes? The three dimensions of gratitude. S-I-O-N. The three dimensions of gratitude is, number one, you recognize the blessings of Allah with your heart. The second dimension, the first dimension, to recognize Allah's barakah with your heart. The second dimension of gratitude is to say Alhamdulillah, to express gratitude by saying Alhamdulillah with your tongue. The third dimension of gratitude is to use Allah's blessings in the right way. To use Allah's blessings in the right way. Not everyone who was blessed with good eyesight use it in the right way. Some people use their eyesight to look at bad things. Not everyone who was blessed with a tongue used it in the right way. Some people use their tongue to spread mischief on the earth. Not everyone who was blessed with wealth used the wealth in the right way. Some people use the wealth to take cocaine and to chase girls. So the third dimension of gratitude is to utilize Allah's barakah in the right way. It is possible for Allah to give you something and then take it back. Because 3 Israelis were tested in that way. The blind man, the bald-headed man, and the leper. Allah gave the blind man his eyesight back. Allah removed the leprosy from the leper. And the bald-head, Allah gave him his hair. But when they were tested, when an angel came to them and spoke to them, and they did not know it's an angel, and the angel said, give me some of your wealth to make my life easy. The bald man was blessed with cows, and the leper was blessed with camels. The blind man was blessed with sheep. The bald said, no, I can't help you. I can't help you. I'm sorry. I can't give you anything. And the leper said the same thing. I can't help you. Don't come asking me for help. You have the wrong address. Go somewhere else. So Allah take away the wealth of the leper, and Allah take away the wealth of the bald head, and Allah gave them back their original state of being a leper and being a bald head. But when the angel went to the blind man, the man who used to be blind, but now he can see because Allah gave him wealth and health. He said, yes, I used to be a blind man and Allah gave me back my eyesight. Go and take any sheep you want. He passed the test with flying colors. So Allah did not return him to his original state. But the other two, they were returned to their original state of being a leper and the original state of being a bald head. And he was deprived of his wealth that Allah gave to him. So it is possible that Allah can give you wealth and take it back. It's possible that Allah can give you health and take it back. Why? Because you were ungrateful. It's not good for you to be ungrateful. When the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Al-Isra wal-Miraj, the majority of people who were in the hellfire were women because they were ungrateful to their husbands. So to be ungrateful is a major sin. It's not a minor sin. And one of the meanings of the word kafir, the word kafir means a person who is ungrateful to Allah. So the word kafir means a person who rejects faith, an infidel. But in the Holy Quran, the word kafir also means a person who is ungrateful to Allah. He doesn't express any gratitude for the many blessings that Allah Ta'ala has bestowed upon him. There was a man who was considered a good man by normal standards. He was good to his neighbor, he was good to his guest, he was kind, he didn't sleep with his neighbor's wife, he didn't steal people's money. So according to normal standards, he was a good man. When he died, Aisha said to the Prophet, Ibn Jud'an, this man, Abdullah ibn Jud'an, can he go to paradise because he was such a good man? The Rasul said, no, he can't go to paradise. Why? Why? Not once in his lifetime did he say, oh Allah, forgive me. Not once in his lifetime did he say, oh Allah, have mercy upon me. This man was a narcissist. Even though he was so good to people, he thought he was not in need of Allah's barakah, he was not in need of Allah's forgiveness, he was not in need of Allah's mercy. So the Rasul said in his lifetime, not once did he say, oh Allah, have mercy upon me. Oh Allah, forgive me. So the Prophet told Aisha, that man Ibn Jud'an, he cannot go to paradise. The man was a narcissist. He thinks himself self-sufficient, proud, arrogant, haughty. All these are called diseases of the heart. So, why is it that sometimes Allah Ta'ala gives you a barakah and take it back? In the UK, in the year 2005, the UK was struck with the foot and mouth disease. And they had to slaughter 1 million sheep and cows. The media in the UK, a right-wing media, a racist media, they wrote in their papers, the asylum seekers, they are coming to eat our food, they are coming to take our jobs. And they whip up racial tension against the asylum seekers. It's called incitement to racial hatred. The British newspapers, what did they do? Incitement to racial hatred. The asylum seekers, they are coming to eat our food. They are coming to take our jobs. They are coming for our women. You're worried about food? Is that what you're worried about? Well, after they whip up racial tension and they carry out incitement to racial hatred with their newspapers, especially the Sun newspaper and the other racist newspapers, like the Daily Express, within a month they had to slaughter 1 million sheep. So you are complaining that the asylum seekers are coming to eat your food, but look what happened to you. Allah strike you down with the foot and mouth disease. You have to slaughter 1 million sheep and cows within a month. Prince Charles came on TV and begged the government to bail them out. The farmers, give them money for all the sheep that they are slaughtering. Because if you don't, they are going to commit suicide. Prince Charles said it. He came on the TV and pleaded with the government, the Tony Blair government, to give money to these farmers who have to slaughter their animals due to the foot and mouth disease. Because if you don't bail them out with money, they will commit suicide. This is an example of Allah giving you a barakah and take it back. Who told you you are supposed to be selfish with food anyway? Who told you it is noble for you to be selfish with food? The infidels in the West, they are extremely selfish with food. When you go to their home, they won't offer you a glass of water to drink. It's the Muslim culture who is kind with food. We follow Millat Ibrahim. When the angels went to the house of Ibrahim, Angel Gabriel with the other angel, what did Ibrahim do? Didn't he slaughter a sheep and cook it for them? And then they did not touch it. And he became worried, how can my guests don't eat my food? I put so many effort to cook for them. Angels don't eat and have sex. Angels are not like us, they don't eat. So then he realized they were angels. So he asked them, what's your mission? Why are you on earth? Why are you here? They said, we are going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. We are going to destroy the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, the gay city. The way Allah destroyed the gay city, New Orleans, with Hurricane Katrina. So Abraham said, but my nephew is there. My nephew is Prophet Lut. He is living there. The angel said, don't worry about him because we were commanded by Allah to protect him, he and his family. So two prophets were on earth simultaneously, Prophet Abraham and Prophet Lut. When the Prophet Muhammad was on earth, there was no other prophet on earth because Muhammad was sent to the whole world. Always bear that in mind. Abraham was in Iraq, Prophet Lot was in Palestine. Two prophets on earth simultaneously. When the Prophet Muhammad was on earth, no prophet was on earth with him. Why? Because he was sent to the whole world, not to one nation like the previous prophets. They were sent to one single nation. Muhammad was sent to the whole of mankind. The first of Allah to us. Barakah number 1. Muhammad was sent to mankind, so no prophet was on earth with him. Because Muhammad was sent to the whole world, no prophet was on earth with him. The first barakah to us is the barakah of Islam. Barakah number 1, the barakah of Islam. What is the definition of Islam, brothers and sisters? Because some people say Islam means peace. The definition of Islam is to surrender to Allah. The barakah of Islam. The definition of Islam is what? To surrender to Allah. That's the definition. To surrender to Allah. Islam doesn't mean peace. So you the infidels, if you think you can invade a Muslim country to steal our natural resources, to rape our women, to desecrate our masajid, and you will be left alone to shoot, loot, and pollute, and we will fold our arms and allow you to destroy the country, you are delusional. That is the problem with kuffar. They are delusional. They say when we invade Baghdad, the Muslims are going to greet us with flowers and candies because Islam means peace. You the infidels, you are delusional. Islam doesn't mean peace. So when you the infidels invade any Muslim country, you can expect stiff resistance because we don't accept occupation and colonization. So I don't know what you expected when you invaded Iraq or Afghanistan. Did you expect to be greeted with Haagen-Dazs ice cream? You are so delusional. I wouldn't put it past you. You expected to be greeted with Haagen-Dazs ice cream. There was no Haagen-Dazs in Iraq. You put 13 years of embargo on Iraq. Islam doesn't mean peace. Islam means to surrender to Allah with tawheed and to renounce shirk and the people of shirk. Finish the definition. To renounce shirk and the people of shirk. This is the only legitimate definition for Islam. Any other definition is incorrect. Some people have to search for Islam. Some of you are fortunate. You were born in a Muslim home and you are called the raised Muslims. What do we call you? The raised Muslim. Some of us have to search for Islam. I wasn't raised in a Muslim home. I had to search for Islam. I found it when I was 16 years old. In my heart, when I used to go to church, something told me this religion isn't right. When you go to church, you know what you hear? Holy Mary, Mother of God. Holy Mary, Mother of God. That's what you hear coming from the priest. So how can you hear such stupidity? Holy Mary, Mother of God, and your common sense didn't tell you something isn't right. When I embraced Islam, I wasn't 26 or 36 or 46. I was only 16 years old. I was still going to high school. So how can a 16-year-old find Islam? Because his common sense told him something isn't right with this religion. And you are a man who is 26 or 36 or 46. And your common sense didn't tell you something isn't right about Christianity. How can you be a Hindu and you see your family going to the temple worshipping a black erected penis called the Shiva, and your common sense didn't tell you that something isn't right about this religion? How can you bow down to stone and your common sense didn't tell you something isn't right about this religion? Now you tell me. You tell me. And you can't use the excuse of ignorance if you die worshiping wooden stones. So don't expect to use the excuse of ignorance. Because Allah said in Surah 7, 172, Allah took you from the loins of Adam. Surah 7, 172. Allah took you from the loins of Adam and made you testify against yourself, saying, am I not your one and only Lord? You said, Bala. Allah said, I did this so that on the day of judgment, you can't use the excuse of ignorance. Surah 7, 172. Put it on the board. You can't use, Allah said, you can't use ignorance as an excuse. Because I took you from the loins of Adam, and I made you testify against yourself, saying, am I not your one and only Lord? Allah said, I did this so that on the day of recompense, you won't be able to use ignorance as an excuse. Just in case you die a pagan, worshipping something other than Allah. So there is no such thing called the excuse of ignorance. The only religion Allah, where is the ayah? The only religion Allah will accept is Islam. It's Surah 3 verse 19. Inna din in the law al-Islam. Can somebody help the admin post the ayahs? Because things are going too slow. Let me see who can help. Just a minute. Could you undot Nusayba? Could you undot Sabrina? Could you undot Abu Coconut? Please Google the ayahs. Could you undot the people to undot Sabrina, Nusayba, Abu Coconut, and okay, that's it. The ayahs has to be posted quicker than this is too slow. You undot the people that need to undot. Yes. When I quote an ayah, I would like to see the ayah in front of me. Allah Ta'ala said, Inna din in the law al-Islam. The only religion acceptable to Allah is Islam. Surah 3 verse 19. Surah 3 verse 19. You are not bringing the right ayah. Could you undot the people to undot? I asked for Surah 3 verse 19. I don't know what you bring. Surah 3 verse 19. Inna din in the law al-Islam. Listen to my Arabic and bring me what I asked for. Inna din in the law al-Islam. The only religion acceptable to Allah is Islam. Surah 3 verse 19. Could I undot these people? Maybe I'll cancel Darcy if things are not going properly. Could you undot the people asked to undot? It's taking you an hour to find a simple ayah. Subhanallah. Inna din in the law al-Islam. Yes. Then Allah Ta'ala said in the same surah, Surah 3 verse 85, وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Anyone who follows a religion other than Islam, it won't be accepted from him. And on the day of judgment, he will be among the khasirin, the losers. وَمَنْ يَبْتَغِ غَيْرَ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا فَلَنْ يُقْبَلَ مِنْهُ وَهُوَ فِي الْآخِرَةِ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. Anyone who follows a religion other than Islam, it won't be accepted from him. And on the day of judgment, he will be among the losers. So, what about, some people say, the Quran said Jews and Christians are going to go to paradise. Did you know that? I've been to a Paul Talk room and heard them preaching that in the room. Jews and Christians are going to go to paradise. And they brought Baqarah 62 as their evidence. I've been to a Paul Talk room and they use Baqarah 62 to say Jews and Christians will be in paradise. And Paul Talk is a double-edged sword. You can learn the truth from Paul Talk, or you can come to Paul Talk and become corrupted if you go to the wrong place. This verse that they quote was taken out of context. This verse is talking about Jews who live in the time of Moses and Christians who live in the time of Jesus. Not the nowadays Christians and Jews. This verse was taken completely out of context. And the Sabians are the followers of Ibrahim. So don't bring me Baqarah 62 and say Jews are going to be in paradise. So Ariel Sharon will be in paradise and Ishaq Rabin. So even Benjamin Netanyahu will be in paradise. Is that how jahil you are? This verse is talking about people. This verse is talking about people who lived in the time of Moses and believe in Moses and believe in Allah. It's talking about people who live in the time of Jesus and believe in Jesus and believe in Allah. The Christians who are living in your midst today, it is impossible for them to go to paradise because they reject Muhammad. So the Prophet said in a famous hadith, by Allah in whose hand is my soul, any Jew or Christian who heard about me, Muhammad, and then died rejecting faith in me, such a person shall be in the hellfire to abide forever. By him in whose hand is my life. By him in whose hand is my life. And a Jew or Christian who heard about me, Muhammad, and then died rejecting faith in me, such a person will be in hellfire to abide forever. So this hadith of the Prophet is clear evidence that it is impossible for the Jew or the Christian who is living today to go to paradise. Why they'll be in the hellfire? Because they reject Muhammad. So don't quote Baqarah 62 and put a spin on the ayah. You are not qualified to give tafsir. And you quote your ayah, I'm going to quote my ayah. My ayah, Surah 98, verse 6. Surah 98, verse 6. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ فِي نَارِ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمْ شَرُّ الْبَرِيَّةِ. Verily, those who disbelieve in Islam from among the people of the book, the Jews and the Christians, as well as the pagans, the mushrikeen. The mushrikeen means the Buddhists and the Hindus. They will abide in hellfire forever, and they are the worst of created creatures. So not only did Allah promise the Jews and the Christians the hellfire, Allah said, you are the worst of created things. And Mike, can you hear me? Bismillah. So you quote your ayah and I quote my ayah. You quote Baqarah 62 to promise Benjamin Netanyahu the paradise and Ariel Sharon that they are going to go to paradise. And you use Baqarah 62 as your evidence. I'm using Surah 98 verse 6 to say to you, these men are the worst of created creatures and they will be in hellfire to abide forever. Surah 98 verse 6. So Surah 98 verse 6 tells me that the Jews and the Christians will be in hellfire to abide forever, and they are the worst of created creatures. Are you going to use Quran to fight Quran? So to be a Muslim, this is a barakah from Allah, because all of you have siblings who are not practicing Muslims. They did not get the barakah of Islam. There is no such thing called a non-practicing Muslim. That doesn't exist. A non-practicing Muslim. Those who say a non-practicing Muslim, there are people who want to apostate and still enjoy the title of being a Muslim. They want to have their cake and eat it. They want to apostate and still enjoy the title of being a Muslim. Tawbah 11 is my evidence to prove to you that there is no such thing called a non-practicing Muslim. Surah 9 verse 11. Because when some people were taking the Shahada, the Sahabas said to the Prophet, what if the Shahada is fake? How can we tell if the Shahada is for real? When they expressed a cause for concern, Allah revealed Tawbah 11. فَإِن تَابُوا وَأَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتَوُا الزَّكَاةَ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ. If they make Tawbah from their kufr and their shirk, their zandaqah, establish the 5 daily prayers and pay the zakah, then accept them as your brothers in deen. So Allah laid on 3 conditions to accept a revert as your brother in deen. Tawbah from his shirk, his kufr, his shirk, his zandaqah. Zandaqah means heresy. Perform the 5 daily prayers and pay the zakah, then they become your brothers in deen. So this evidence was used by Ahmad ibn Hanbal to prove that there is no such a thing called a non-practicing Muslim. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the best of you in Jahiliyyah will become the best in Islam if you have the right understanding of the deen. خيركم في الجاهلية خيركم في الإسلام. The best of you in Jahiliyyah will become the best in Islam if you comprehend the deen properly. If a man was a kafir in Jahiliyyah and he used to con people, when he comes to Islam, he will continue to con people. If a person in Jahiliyyah was disingenuous, when he comes to Islam, he will be disingenuous. If a man in Jahiliyyah used to be a thief, when he comes to Islam, he will carry on his thieving. The best of you in Jahiliyyah will become the best in Islam if you understand the religious knowledge. What the hadith means, if you were an honest kafir, you will be an honest Muslim. If you were a dodgy kafir, you'll be a dodgy Muslim. That's how my sheikhs explained the hadith for me, because I did not know the explanation for the hadith. My sheikh explained it in that manner. If you comprehend the knowledge, if you end up with the right aqidah. Some people come to Islam and what did they become? Goofy Sufi. Some people come to Islam and what did they become? A Saudi Salafi, cementing the thrones of the apostle leaders. A lot of white Muslims become Sufis and a lot of black Muslims become Saudi Salafis. A madkhali. May the curse of Allah be upon them. So not every revert, when they come to Islam, they come to true Islam. Not every revert. Some reverts did not come to true Islam. Some reverts, the type of Islam they came to, is better they remain where they were. Because you came to dodgy Islam. I've seen a Barelwi revert. I've seen Shiite revert. I've seen reverts who are goofy Sufis. So the Rasul said, the best of you in Jahiliyyah will become the best in Islam if you comprehend the religious knowledge. Not to come to Islam and become a goofy Sufi, worshipping the graves, a Saudi Salafi, cementing the thrones of the apostate leaders, and claim I can spy for the kuffar because it's a job. And when I spy for the kuffar, I'm catching the Khawarij, the terrorists. My job is halal because I'm helping the kuffar to catch the terrorists. That's the aqidah of a Saudi Salafi. Don't come to Islam and say Muhammad is alive in the grave so I can pray to him. You did not understand the religious knowledge. When you came to Islam, you didn't come to Islam properly. You didn't come to Islam wholeheartedly. When you come to Islam, you cannot have one foot in Islam and one foot in Christianity. That's the Sufi. A Sufi is a Christian. One foot in Islam and one foot in Hinduism. That's the Barelwi. A Barelwi is a Hindu. One foot in Islam, one foot in Zoroastrianism. That is the Shia. A Shia is a Zoroastrian. Allah said in Baqarah 208, Ya ladina amanu udkhulu fis silmi kaffa. O you believe, enter into Islam wholeheartedly. وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ, and don't follow the footsteps of the shaitan. The shaitan is an open enemy to you. So, for you to be a raised Muslim, there's no guarantee that you will remain a Muslim. The son of Noah, he died a kafir. How can you have a prophet for your father and still die a kafir? Do you understand my question? How can you have a prophet for your father? Or you believe enter perfectly in Islam? Okay, yes. How can you have Prophet Noah as your father and still die a kafir? This is unbelievable. Well, that is because Islam is a gift from Allah. Islam is a gift from Allah. And Iman is a gift from Allah. The second barakah that Allah Ta'ala bestow upon us is self-contentment. Barakah number 2, self-contentment. And when the Prophet said to the Sahabas, who is the rich man? They said the rich man is the man with dinar and dirham. The Prophet said, no, the rich man is a man who has self-contentment. Find the hadith. That is the rich man. The man with self-contentment. Have you ever done a research? Do yourself a favor. Go to YouTube and do a search. Type in the top 10 countries for suicide. Just do that favor. Go to YouTube and do a search. The top 10 countries for suicide. I can guarantee 10 kafir countries. So they like to say, everybody wants to come to the West. Our lifestyle is the best lifestyle. People, they drowned in the sea to come to the West. Really, is that the case? I'm sure if we type in and do a search, the top 10 countries for crime, it will be 10 kafir countries for murder and rape. The top 10 countries for suicide, 10 kafir countries. So why they kill themselves? They don't have self-contentment. Why they don't have self-contentment? Because they don't have Islam. So if you type in, do your own research, the top 10 countries for suicide, top 10 kafir countries. The top 10 countries for crime, murder and rape and stealing, 10 kafir countries. So why 10 kafir countries or the top 10 countries for suicide, why do they kill themselves? They don't have the barakah of Islam. And Allah warned you in the Quran, وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. Surah 20, 124 to 126. Surah 20, 124 to 126. وَمَنْ أَعْرَضَ عَنْ ذِكْرِي فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكًا وَنَحْشُرُهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ أَعْمَى. Anyone who doesn't practice my book, I will make sure his life is a wretched life, a miserable life, and on the day of recompense, I will raise him up blind. He will say, my Lord, why did you raise me up blind? In the dunya, I could see. Allah will say, likewise, our revelations came to you, and you turned a blind eye to our revelation. So because of that, today, we treat you in the same manner, we raise you up blind. So, Allah promised the infidels who reject Islam a life of mental depression. A life of mental depression. So when you go and do the research I tell you to do, the top 10 countries for suicide, when you see 10 kafir countries, always remember this verse. The Quran tells you what is happening all around you. The Quran tells you what is happening all around you. But you have to be versed in the Quran to understand what is taking place around you. Allah Ta'ala said, Ala bi dhikrillah tatma'in al-qulub. Surah 13, verse 28. It is only by the dhikr of Allah, the remembrance of Allah, your hearts will find contentment. Ala bi dhikrillah. I don't want all the ayah, just the piece I am quoting. It is by the dhikr of Allah that your hearts will find contentment. So if you don't do the remembrance of Allah, it's impossible to find contentment. No wonder the word Prozac, verily in the remembrance of Allah, do hearts find rest. Yes. Prozac is a household name. Prozac is an antidepressant. And in Darul Harb, Darul Kufr, the word Prozac has become a household name. Because these infidels, they take Prozac to feel better, claiming it's an antidepressant. These pills don't work. The pharmaceutical companies are laughing all the way to the bank. It's a gimmick. The word gimmick means a trick. It's a gimmick. These pills don't work. They only make you become suicidal. If you want self-contentment, you need to practice Islam. Because Allah said, if you don't practice Islam, I will make sure you live a wretched life, a miserable life. Surah Taha 124. The third barakah of Islam is the barakah of Iman. There's a difference between Islam and Iman. The third barakah, the barakah of Iman. There's a difference between Islam and Iman. So there's a difference between the Muslim and the Mu'min. When the angel Gabriel came to the Prophet in the masjid, he said, what is Islam and what is Iman? Where's the notes? What is Islam and what is Iman? No, the barakah of Iman. The third barakah, the barakah of Iman. When the angel Gabriel came to the Prophet in the masjid in Medina, he said, what is Islam and what is Iman? So the angel Gabriel made a difference between Islam and Iman. So a Muslim is a person who believes in Islam, but he may have weaknesses in his character that are major, like alcohol and zina. But the mu'min, he doesn't have these weaknesses in his character. So a Muslim is a person who believes in Islam, but he may have weaknesses of character, like alcohol and zina. But the mu'min, the believer, who is a fervent believer, he doesn't have these weaknesses. And even, yeah, they are both Muslims. Yes. So every mu'min is a Muslim. But not every Muslim is a mu'min. Every mu'min is a Muslim. But not every Muslim is a mu'min. Some desert Arabs took Shahada, and when they were in the desert, they suffered poverty and hunger. So they came to Medina and told the Prophet, feed us, we are mu'minun. Allah spoke about them in Surah 49, verse 14. قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا. Surah 49, verse 14. You're not writing good. Surah 49, verse 14. The desert Arabs claim we are believers. وقالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا. Say to them, you are not yet believers, you are only Muslims, you are submitters. Because Iman has not yet entered into your hearts properly. So Allah Himself made a difference in the Quran between the Muslim and the Mu'min. And the Iman is only from Allah. Allah called Himself Al-Mu'min. Why did Allah call Himself Al-Mu'min? This is one of Allah's 99 names and attributes. Al-Mu'min. Why did Allah call Himself Al-Mu'min? Because only He can give Iman. He is the giver of Iman. Allah didn't call Himself Al-Muslim. This is not one of Allah's 99 names and attributes. Al-Muslim. Because Al-Muslim means the one who submits. Allah doesn't submit to anybody. Allah doesn't submit to anybody. So Allah didn't say Al-Muslim. But He called Himself Al-Mu'min because He is the one who gives Iman. The Prophet stood over his uncle Abu Talib and saw him die a kafir, a mushrik. And the Prophet was devastated. What did Allah say? You, Muhammad, you cannot guide the people you like, only me, Allah, can guide. Surah 28, verse 56. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. You cannot guide to Islam the people you like. We know you like your uncle because he helped you. But you cannot guide you like. Only me, Allah, can guide. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. So Iman is a gift from Allah Ta'ala. And because of that, the son of Noah died a kafir, and Noah couldn't give his son Iman. 2 prophets had kafir wives. Prophet Noah had a kafir wife, and Prophet Lut had a kafir wife. So how can you be a prophet and your wife is a kafir? That's because Iman is a gift from Allah. Only Allah can give Iman. Indeed, O Muhammad. Okay, no, say, but use a smaller font. That's too big. Use a regular font. Indeed, O Muhammad, you do not guide those who you like, but Allah guides whom He wills. This ayah came down to tell the Prophet, your uncle died a kafir because only Allah can give Iman. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ. So Allah made a difference between the Muslim and the Mu'min. Likewise, there's a difference between destiny and predestination. There's a difference between a prophet and a messenger. There's a difference between Tawbah and Istighfar. There's a difference between heaven and paradise. Jesus, where is Jesus? Jesus is in heaven, not paradise. No one is allowed to enter paradise before Muhammad. Jesus is sleeping right now in heaven, not paradise. And He will return. The return of Jesus is one of the signs before Judgment Day. You see those Shiites leaving Syria? It's a purge. The Alawites, who believe Ali is divine. It's a purge. How can Jesus return when Alawites are in Syria? So Syria is going through a phase. And this phase is called a purge to facilitate the return of Jesus. There's a difference between Islam and Iman, and between the Muslim and the Mu'min. So what is the fourth barakah that Allah Ta'ala has blessed the Ummah of Muhammad with? The fourth barakah is the brotherhood and the sisterhood. The fourth barakah, the brotherhood and the sisterhood. Allah Ta'ala said in the Holy Quran, verily it's the believers who are brothers. Innamal mu'minuna ikhwa. Surah 49 verse 10. Surah 49 verse 10. It's the believers who are brothers. This means the brotherhood is based upon the foundation of La ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. Any other brotherhood is fake. The Freemasons, they call their movement a brotherhood. My Freemason brother. And they say, if you are a Christian, a Jew, or a Muslim, you can join the Freemason. We will make you swear by the Quran. If you want to join, we make you swear by the Torah, or you can swear by the Bible. We are a brotherhood. We don't discriminate. Even Muslims join Freemasons. That's what they claim. If you were a real brotherhood, why is it that you only write a letter to a millionaire and say, come and join us? Would you write a letter to a man who's on the dole? The dole means food stamps. This man is a deadbeat, a pauper. He lives off food stamps. Would you write him a letter and say, come and join the Freemason Brotherhood? Never. They only write letters to rich people. Your brotherhood is based upon wealth. So what kind of a brotherhood is that? When you go to Hajj, you see rich, poor, black, white, yellow, brown, Arab, non-Arab. That's the real brotherhood, the Islamic brotherhood. And because of that, Allah said, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. Verily, it's the believers who are brothers. We don't believe in the expression, my black brother, my Arab brother, my Indian brother. We don't believe in that expression. My Pakistani brother. Really? My Pakistani brother. So even the Qadiani in Pakistan is your brother. A'udhu billah. We don't believe in these expressions. That's asabiyah. The Prophet said, Laysa minna man da'a ila al-asabiyah. Anyone who calls to asabiyah is not one of us. Asabiyah is racism and tribalism and nationalism. Laysa minna man da'a ila al-asabiyah. He who calls to asabiyah is not one of us. The Prophet said in a famous hadith, the Muslims in their love, mercy, and affection for each other is like one body. When one part of the body is affected, the whole body feels the pain. That is the brotherhood. We are what? One body. When one part of the body is affected, the entire body feels the pain. This is what the Rasul said about the brotherhood. And he said the Muslims are like the walls, the bricks in a wall. Each wall supporting the other wall. And when he said the Muslims are like the bricks of the wall and each wall is supporting the other wall, he puts his fingers together. We are supposed to strengthen each other. We are not allowed to use racism, tribalism, and nationalism to destroy the Islamic Brotherhood. And the kuffar, they do this. When the kuffar invade a Muslim country, they turn the Pashtun against the Uzbek. When they invade a Muslim country, they turn the Pashtun against the Uzbek, and then they turn the Uzbek against the Tajik. It's called divide and rule. When they invade a Muslim country, they turn Yoruba against Hausa, and then they turn the Hausa against the Fulani. That's their strategy. When they invade, they turn the Rajput against the Chaudhry, and then they turn the Chaudhry against the Rai. Divide and rule. But if you understand the Islamic Brotherhood properly, you will not allow the infidels to destroy you with asabiyah. If you have taqwa and understand the Islamic Brotherhood properly, you won't allow the infidels to use asabiyah to destroy your brotherhood. The other blessing that Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with And before I mention the other blessing, let me remind you, the Prophet said, 7 people will be beneath the shade of Allah on Judgment Day, when there will be no shade except the shade of Allah. 7 people shall be beneath the shade of Allah Ta'ala on the Day of Judgment, when there will be no shade except the shade of Allah. A just ruler, a youth who grew up in the worship of his Lord and did not go astray, a man in which a beautiful woman called him to bed and he says, no, I fear Allah. A man whose heart is connected to the masjid. Number 6, a man, whenever he gives you anything with the right hand, the left hand doesn't know anything about it. The other, a person who locks himself up in a room and do dhikr until he cries. And the 7th and last, 2 people who love each other for the sake of Allah. They meet and they exchange visits only for the sake of Allah. So if you love a person for the sake of Allah, nothing causes you to love each other except for the sake of Allah. You will be beneath the shade of Allah on the Day of Judgment, when there will be no shade except the shade of Allah. The 5th barakah, where is the hadith? The 5th barakah that Allah has blessed you with is your life partner. A pious life partner. Yes. The 5th barakah, a pious life partner. So we make the dua, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. Oh Allah, give us the good of the dunya and the good of the hereafter. The hasana, the good of the dunya, of 4 things. A pious wife, a spacious house, a reliable transportation, and a good neighbor. These are the 4 hasana of the dunya. A pious wife, a reliable transportation, a big house, and a good neighbor. So when you make the dua, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana, oh Allah, give us the hasana of the dunya, these are the 4 hasana of the dunya. And Allah Ta'ala told you in Surah 30 verse 21 that from among the wonderful signs of Allah is that He has created for you a life partner. And He put between you and your life partner love and affection and rahmah. He gave you rahmah and He gave you love. Mawadda, love, and rahmah. Surah 30 verse 21. And among His signs is this, that He has created for you your life partner, that you might find comfort in them. And He put between you affection, which is mawadda and rahmah. Very in that are indeed signs for a people who reflect. Surah Rum verse 21. A life partner is the 5th barakah of Allah, but you should make dua and beg Allah for this pious life partner. Don't entertain the idea it will come automatically. You have to pray and beg Allah for it. So Allah taught you the dua to make in Surah 25 verse 74. رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ وَاجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. Surah 25 verse 74. Our Lord, bestow on us from our wives and our offspring the joy and comfort of our eyes, and make us leaders of the muttaqun. So you were taught to recite this dua in order for Allah to bless you with a pious life partner. Some people, their life partners send them to the madhouse because of mental depression. Some people, their life partners made them become bankrupt. Some people, their life partners conspire to kill them because they want the insurance money. Didn't you know that? I've watched many, many documentaries where men insure their wives and kill their wives. So not everyone is blessed with a pious life partner. So the fifth barakah that Allah has blessed you with is for you to have a pious life partner. Some of you call that person your Jivan Sati. The sixth blessing that Allah has blessed us with is our two eyes. This is the sixth blessing. One day a blind man approached the Prophet and said, "Pray for me, I want back my eyesight." The Prophet said, "If you are patient with your blindness, you'll go to Jannah. But if I pray for you and you get back your eyesight, I can't guarantee you Jannah. What do you want?" The man said to the Prophet, "Pray for me, I want back my eyesight." The Prophet prayed for the man and he got back his eyesight. It's the hadith of Uthman ibn Hanif. A very famous hadith, the hadith of Uthman ibn Hanif. And Allah said, when I take away the eyesight of a person, if he has sabr, he will go to paradise. It's a big test to lose your eyesight. So if you were made blind because of an accident and you have sabr, your destiny shall be the paradise. Sabr means you did not insult Allah. When you lost your eyesight, you did not insult Allah, you had sabr. So if you became blind and you had sabr, your destiny shall be the paradise. Because your eyesight is one of the biggest barakah that you can have. The seventh blessing is your hearing. The seventh blessing, your hearing. The seventh blessing, your hearing. The seventh blessing, your hearing. People who can't hear, they can speak a language. If you can't hear, you can't speak a language. Impossible. So those who are deaf, they are also dumb. Allah Ta'ala called himself, Inna Allah Sami'un Alim. Allah is the all-hearing, the all-knowing. Why Allah mentioned the all-hearing, the all-knowing always in the Quran? Allah is the all-hearing, the all-knowing. These two attributes come side by side. This is to tell you that a great listener is a great learner. It's to teach you something. A great listener is a great learner. And some people can't learn because they can't listen. Why they can't listen? Because they are narcissists. Every great listener is a great learner. You were given 2 ears and 1 mouth for you to listen twice the amount of time you speak. Allah gave you 2 ears, 1 mouth for you to listen twice the amount of time you speak. Now who made that statement? Luqman said that to his son. Luqman the wise, he said that to his son. Your 8th barakah is your aql, the intellect. O my son, I have never regretted because of keeping silent. If words are silver, silence is golden. Okay, shukran. So this is Luqman giving advice to his son. The 8th barakah is the aql, the intellect. Some people use their intellect to help others, to do discoveries, innovations. And some people use their intellect to spread mischief on the earth, like genetically modified animals. They introduce the genes of the pig into the chicken, for example. They use their intellect to spread mischief on the earth. So your intellect is a gift from Allah. It's also a test from Allah. It's like your beauty. If you are beautiful, it's a gift from Allah. It's also a test. Some women use their beauty to spread mischief on the earth. Your money is a gift from Allah. Your money is a test. Some people use their money to spread mischief on the earth. So all this barakah that Allah gave you, not only is it a gift, it is also a test. Now Allah said, fitna. Your wealth and your kids are a fitna for you. The word fitna means a test. After Allah gave you the aql, Allah said the worst of creatures are those who don't use their aql. Surah 8 verse 22. After Allah gave you the aql, Surah 8 verse 22. After Allah gave you the aql, Allah said the worst of creatures are those who don't use their aql. So because you don't use your intellect, your aql, Allah said you have lost your status. You are no longer a man. What have you become? A creature, a dabba. How can you be contacted by someone over the internet and they told you you won 10 million US dollars, and in order for you to collect the money, you won 10 million US dollars, and if you want to collect the money, you need to send me 2,000 US dollars as service charge. You know how many people were conned like this? It's called a scam. The scammers. They go looking for people who don't use their aql and scam them. Some people got scammed out of their life savings. Many people from Nigeria and Jamaica were extradited to America. Why? Because they scam Americans. They contacted them and said, you want some money. But if you want to collect your money, you need to send us $2,000, $3,000 or $4,000 for service charge. Then we release the money to you. And they got scammed like this. Can you imagine the level of imbecility in Can you imagine the level of imbecility in the society? The imbecility of the society. You send money to somebody you met over the internet. That person you met over the internet, did he come on Skype? Did he pass the Skype test? People who can't come on Skype, they are con artists and they have something to hide. So they cannot pass the Skype test. So all the aql, the brain. And if you don't use your aql, you are not a human being anymore. You have now become a creature, a dabba. The 9th blessing Allah gave you with is the ability to smell. Did you know that smelling, your ability to smell, can save your life? Because you're in your house and you smell smoke. So you jump up and rush to the spot where the smoke is. And what happened? Your house was on fire. Your will save your life. You might eat the food is not proper, it gone off. You smell the food and it is not proper. The food is gone off. So you dump the food. If you did not dump the food, you would die from food poisoning. Your ability to smell save your life again. So do not underestimate this barakah, because on many occasions your ability to smell save your life. The Prophet said, when you come to the masjid, don't come with your mouth smelling of onion and garlic, because you offend even the angels. The angels are offended with bad smell. When you have onion and garlic in your mouth, stay away from our masjid. We don't want to smell your bad smell. Ibn Taymiyyah said, listen to this fatwa, I don't know if you can find it. Ibn Taymiyyah said, a man who is smelly, it is compulsory on him to make ghusl every Friday before he goes to the masjid. So, when I was in university, when I was in university, my sheikhs told me, for you to go to the masjid on a Friday, the ghusl is strongly recommended, sunnah mu'akkada. To have a shower, a ghusl is sunnah mu'akkada on a Friday. Ibn Taymiyyah said, it is compulsory on a man who is smelly to make ghusl before he goes to the masjid on a Friday. The Prophet ﷺ loved three things from the dunya. You find the fatwa? The Prophet loved three things from the dunya: perfume, woman, and salah. Ibn Taymiyyah. Where is it? Yes, that's it. Bring it. Okay, thank you for finding the fatwa of Ibn Taymiyyah. Okay, find the hadith. The Prophet loved three things from the dunya: perfume, woman, and salah. According to Sharia law, you can divorce a person with bad breath. Did you know that? According to Sharia law, you can divorce a person with bad breath. Or a person with any other odor which is offensive. Your 10th barakah, the 10th barakah is body odor, O-D-O-R. According to Sharia law, you can divorce a person for body odor or bad breath. Body odor or bad breath. Because the Prophet said in a famous hadith, At-tuhur shatrul iman, cleanliness is half of your iman. I don't want all the hadith. Bring me the piece I asked for. At-tuhur shatrul iman, cleanliness is half of your iman. The 10th barakah is, you find the hadith, tuhur shatrul iman, cleanliness is half of your iman. So a person with bad breath or bad odor from their body, you can divorce them for that reason. Okay, that's good enough. The 10th barakah, your ability to taste. With this barakah, you enjoy delicious food and drinks with your nearest and dearest. With this barakah, you enjoy delicious food and drink with your nearest and dearest. We are not allowed to abuse this barakah and overeat and become obese. We are not allowed to abuse this barakah, to gorge on food and become obese. Because one day Omar saw a man with a big belly. Omar said, "What is this?" The man said to Omar, "Barakah. Barakah, Omar. This is barakah." Omar said, "This is not barakah. This is a curse. This is a punishment, not barakah." So do not abuse this barakah of ability to taste. Become addicted to food, gorge. Some of you become addicted to chocolate, and what happened? You become diabetic. When I was in the UK, I had a student. She was only 14 and she was diabetic, taking needles. How can you be 14 years old and you are diabetic? In my country, only people who are in their 50s and 60s are diabetic, not kids. What's going on? A 14-year-old diabetic because you ate too much chocolate. So this ability to taste, we are not supposed to abuse it until we become diabetic, until we become obese, until we become unhealthy. Always practice self-control. The Prophet said when you eat food, it should be 1/3 for food, 1/3 for water, and 1/3 for breathing passage. What the Rasul said, when you are eating your food, 1/3 for food, 1/3 for water, 1/3 for breathing passage. The fattest state in America is Texas. And the fattest country in Europe is the UK. The fattest state in America is Texas. And the fattest country in Europe is the UK. A Muslim is not allowed to eat until he becomes fat. I quoted you the hadith. It's in front of you. Omar said, your big belly is a punishment from Allah. It's not allowed in Islam to be fat. The worst vessel a man can fill is his stomach. It is haram to be fat. What's the evidence? I posted the evidence already. Omar told the man with the big belly that is a punishment from Allah. A curse, not barakah like he was claiming. The 11th barakah is eloquence. The barakah of bayan. Bayan in Arabic. Okay, bring me the evidence to prove that it's a barakah. Surah 55, 1-4. Surah 55, verses 1-4. Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, Khalaqa al-Insan, Allamahul Bayan. Ar-Rahman, Allah, He has taught mankind by the Quran. He created man and He taught man eloquence. Eloquence is a great barakah. One day the Prophet was in Medina and two men came to Medina and they were speaking. These men were eloquent. And the people were mesmerized by their speech. The Rasul said, Inna min al-bayan la sihr. Some speech is like magic. What the Rasul said? Some speech is just as effective as magic. Don't post it. No. Not yet. Where is the ayah? Why is it taking so long? Where is the ayah? The hadith comes too quickly. The ayah is taking too long to come. Yeah, He taught man eloquent speech. Ar-Rahman, Allama al-Quran, Khalaq al-Insan, Allamahu al-Bayan. Okay, you can bring the hadith now. Don't post the hadith inside the Quran. So, two men came to Medina and they were speaking eloquently. And the people were mesmerized by their speech. They had never seen such eloquence. And what did the Prophet said? Inna min al-bayan la sihr. Some speech is like magic. Tony Blair used his eloquence to mislead Parliament. And British troops were sent to war. They born in vain, they live in vain, and they died in vain. Tony Blair used eloquent speech to mislead Parliament. So they sent troops into war in Iraq for a big lie. These British troops, they born in vain, they lived in vain, and they died because they died for a big lie. Even Kofi Annan said the war on Iraq was an illegal war. They went in to steal Muslim oil, but they did not see ISIS coming. They did not see ISIS coming because they plot and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. The Prophet said, you come to me with your disputes. I'll find the hadith. You come to me with your disputes for me to be the judge, the arbiter. But some of you are more eloquent than others. I listen to you with your disputes, and I might give the right to the one who is able to speak better than his Muslim brother. But let me tell you something, let me make something clear to you. If I give you the right of your Muslim brother, I only give you the hellfire. When the Prophet said that, they cried and said, I don't want my right, I give my right to my Muslim brother. Do you understand what I'm just saying? There's a hadith like that. The Prophet said, you come to me with your disputes, and you want me to be the judge in your disputes. Some of you are able to express himself better than his Muslim brother because he has eloquent speech, he has bayan. But if I give you the right of your Muslim brother, all I did was to give you the hellfire. Okay, thank you. Yes. When they heard the Prophet said this, they cried and said, I don't want my right. I prefer to give my right to my Muslim brother because I don't want the hellfire. The ninth barakah, that's which barakah number 10, 11, barakah number 12. I think this is, we have reached barakah number 12. According to my notes, barakah number 12. Barakah number 12, the tongue. Tongue. We use the tongue, barakah number 12, the tongue. We use the tongue to do dawah. We use the tongue to do dawah. We use the tongue to do dhikr. We use the tongue to make dua. The tongue has many functions. We use the tongue to do dawah. We use the tongue to do dhikr. We use the tongue to make dua. We use the tongue for Quranic recitation. We use the tongue to give khutbahs, to deliver khutbahs. We use the tongue to arbitrate in disputes. Do you see how important the tongue is? We use the tongue to give instructions. We use the tongue to counsel others. We use the tongue to counsel the wayward. We use the tongue to console the bereaved. We use the tongue to console the bereaved. Do you see how important the tongue is? I haven't even listed all the other roles of the tongue. The Prophet said, Kalimatan khafifatan ala lisan. 2 words are light on the tongue, heavy on the scales. And these words are loved by Allah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanallah al-azim. The Rasul said, everything in the dunya is cursed except 3 things. Dhikrullah, the remembrance of Allah, a scholar of Islam, and a student of that scholar. A student of the scholar. Everything else is cursed. And Allah said, Allah Ta'ala said, and who is better in speech than the one who invites others to the way of Allah and work righteous deeds and say, verily I am a Muslim. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْمًا وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who can be better than that man? He invites to Allah. He works righteous deeds and says, verily I am a Muslim. Not everyone use their tongue properly. Some people use their tongue to spread mischief on the earth. So the Prophet passed by 2 graves, and the men were punished in their graves. One, he dropped urine on his trousers, and the other man, he used his tongue to spread namima, nammam, gossip, tale-bearing. So not everyone used their tongue properly. Luqman the wise, his master said to him, kill a sheep and take out the 2 best organs. He took out the heart and the tongue. Then his master said to him the next day, kill another sheep and take out the 2 worst organs. He took out the heart and the tongue. Luqman the wise said, the heart and the tongue, when they are used properly, they are the best organs. But when they are not used properly, they become the worst organs, the heart and the tongue. The tongue is used to spread a lot of fitna. Many wars started with the tongue because of false news that they spread. The asylum seekers coming out of Iraq, they told the white man Saddam has weapons of mass destruction. They spread false news. They invade Iraq and kill 1 million Iraqis, and there are no weapons of mass destruction. That's because of the tongue. They spread false news. Allah in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in fatabayyanu. Oh, you believe, if an evil person bring you news, verify it. Surah 49, verse 6. Fatabayyanu. Verify the news you hear. Because you might smite someone out of ignorance, and when you find out the truth, you become nadimin. You become regretful of what you did. Many times people kill people based upon false news, lies. In Pakistan, women are killed every day because somebody said, I slept with her, and he did not sleep with her. She's a virgin, and her father killed her thinking she's fornicating. Just because of the tongue. The tongue is very, very dangerous. The Prophet Muhammad said it is sufficient for us to call a man a liar. The man who believes everything he hears and spreads it. Everything he hears, he believes it and spreads it. It is enough for us to call that man a liar. Did you find the hadith? It is enough for us to call a man a liar, the man who believes everything he hears and he spreads it. He doesn't verify. When you have an enemy, your enemy will never verify the news they hear about you. If you have an enemy, and your enemy hears that you are a gay, he's going to spread it. He's not going to verify the news. It's not in his interest to verify. If your enemy hears that you are a lesbian, they are going to spread the news. They are not going to verify. It's not in their interest to verify. But the pious people, they always verify news before they act upon the news. Do you remember we did the story of Suleiman in this room? And I told you that the bird came to Suleiman and told Suleiman, I was in Yemen and I saw Bilqis. She and her people worshipping the sun, not Allah. Suleiman, what did Suleiman say to the bird? We are going to see if you are speaking the truth or you are telling lies. Surah 27, verse 27. Suleiman verified the news. Why? Because he was pious. He was a prophet. Surah 27, verse 27. When the bird said, I saw Bilqis worshipping the sun, she and her people, not Allah. Suleiman didn't act upon the news. Suleiman verified before he acted. That is called piety. When a person is not pious, they don't verify the news. Where is the ayah? Surah 27, verse 27. It is sufficient for us to call a man a liar, the man who believes everything he hears, and then he spreads it. The other barakah that Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with. So the tongue is very important, but the tongue is also very dangerous. Luqman said the heart and the tongue are the best organs if they are used properly, and they are the worst organs if they are not used properly. The 13th barakah is the barakah of knowledge. Allah Ta'ala said about knowledge, وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي إِلْمًا, Surah 20, verse 114. Say, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. I only want that small piece I quoted. وَقُلْ رَبِّ زِدْنِي عِلْمًا. And say, my Lord, increase me in knowledge. Allah said He raised two people in high ranks of dignity and prestige. Those who are real believers and those who are firmly grounded in knowledge. Surah 58, verse 11. Surah 58, verse 11. Allah raised two people to high levels of dignity and prestige. Surah 58, verse 11. Allah will exalt in degrees. Allah will exalt in degrees two people, those who are sincere believers and those who are firmly grounded in knowledge. I don't want that all of the ayah. Listen to what I'm saying. Allah will exalt in degrees. Yes, Allah will exalt in degrees two types of people. Those who are sincere believers and those who are firmly grounded in knowledge. That's all I want from the ayah. Then Allah said in Surah 39, verse 9, قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Say, are they equal? Those who know and those who do not know. Say, are they equal? Those who know and those who do not know. قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Of a surety, they are not equal. So the 13 barakah that Allah has blessed us with are those who know equal to those who know not. Okay, yes, that's what I want. The Prophet said the scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. Al-ulama warathul anbiya. The scholars, they are the inheritors of the prophets. The Prophet said, even the birds in the air, the ant in the hole, the fishes in the sea, all of them make dua and beg Allah to forgive a person who teach the ummah their deen. The birds in the air, the fishes in the sea, even the ant in the hole, pray to Allah and beg Allah to forgive the person who teach the ummah their deen. I find that hadith. The scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. I think it's the same hadith. If you bring one hadith, I think it will have both statements in it. The scholars are the heirs of the prophets. Okay, that's all I want. Yes. The angels, the inhabitants of the heavens and the earth and the ants in the hole, even the fish in the sea, beg Allah to forgive the person who teach the ummah their deen. Okay, the next barakah that Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with is the barakah of hikmah. And before you bring the barakah of hikmah, let me remind you, when you seek knowledge, you have to have the right intention. And before bringing the barakah of hikmah, let me remind you, when you seek Islamic knowledge, you should always have the right intention. Because the Prophet said, anyone who seeks knowledge to show off on the scholars and to debate with the layman will never smell the fragrance of paradise. Not everyone who seeks knowledge is sincere. So the Rasul said, any man who seeks knowledge to show off on the scholars and to debate with the layman will never smell the fragrance of paradise. We have wicked scholars out there because when they were seeking the knowledge, they were not sincere. And the worst person, the Prophet said, I fear for you a fitna which is worse than the Dajjal. And Abu Dhar said, what is worse than the Dajjal? The Prophet said, misguided scholars. I fear for you a fitna worse than the fitna of the Dajjal. Abu Dhar was scared. They said, what is worse than the Dajjal? The Prophet said, misguided scholars. So don't think everybody who seeks knowledge is sincere. I've heard people on YouTube speaking kufr and they have knowledge. I heard Hamza Yusuf telling people, pray to Muhammad. He's alive. He's not dead. Pray to him. He's telling you to pray to Muhammad. He thinks he can do to Islam what Paul did to Christianity. Paul destroyed Christianity. Yeah, Hamza Yusuf is confident. I can come to Islam and do to Islam what Paul did to Christianity. I heard him with my 2 ears telling people on YouTube, pray to Muhammad. He's alive in the grave. That is shirk. You can't pray to Muhammad. We say, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'een. You alone we worship and you alone we ask for help. These wicked scholars, they quote Quranic verses, but they don't give tafsir. They put a spin on the ayah to catch unsuspecting Muslims. When they quote an ayah, they don't give tafsir. They put a spin on the ayah to deceive unsuspecting Muslims who don't know anything about their deen. You need to stay away from wicked scholars because the Prophet said, I fear for you a fitna which is worse than the fitna of the Dajjal. When Abu Dhar said, what is that fitna? The Rasul said, misguided scholars. They are the wicked scholars. I heard someone telling the kuffar, the Quran got it wrong. Jesus was crucified. And he's a scholar. And you have somebody on Pal Talk, he has a room and he promotes gay marriages on Pal Talk. Gay sex. Yusuf Deen. Yusuf Deen. He has his own room on Pal Talk. He uses his room to promote gay sex. And he himself is a gay. And Muslims go to listen to such rubbish when they come to Pal Talk. He claims when Allah spoke about Ahlul Kitab, Allah meant the Muslims. Ahlul Kitab means the Muslims. So when Allah said you should fight the people of the book, Allah meant you should fight the Muslims. And Yusuf Deen, that's what he preaches. When Allah said fight the people of the book, in Surah Tawbah, verse 29, Allah said fight the people of the book. Allah meant the Muslims, fight the Muslims. So Pal Talk is a double-edged sword. You can hear the haqq on Pal Talk, but you can go astray. I've seen people come to Pal Talk and they apostate from Islam. Not a lot, on a few occasions. People come to Pal Talk and they apostate. Some become Shiites making takfir on Abu Bakr and Umar. So Pal Talk is a double-edged sword. You have good rooms here, but you have bad rooms as well. The 14th barakah that Allah bless us with is the barakah of hikmah. The 14th barakah is the barakah of hikmah. I'm going to stop here for today and continue this on Monday. I'll stop here for today. I'll take 5 questions. I'll stop here for today and continue the dars on Monday. I'll stop here for, I'm taking 5 questions. I'm stopping here for today. I'll continue this dars because I have a lot of things to say. Many Quranic verses and many hadiths. So out of mercy for you, I'm stopping here for today. My notes is never ended. So I'll stop here for today and take 5 questions. Is there any fiqh issues concerning a Muslim who is married to a Christian wife? Can he leave some of his inheritance to her before he dies? He can give her something as a gift, but not official inheritance, just a gift. Because Kafirs can't inherit from a Muslim. But he can leave her something as a gift in his will. Also, you are not allowed to marry a Christian if Muslim girls are available. Omar passed this law when he was a caliph. Because a man married a Christian girl and Omar told him to divorce her, he wrote Omar a letter, why should I divorce her? Allah gave me the permission to marry her in Surah 5 verse 5. So Omar wrote him a letter and said, oh, you believe, don't take the Jews and Christians for friends because they are friends of each other. And if any of you take them for friends, you become one of them. You are only allowed to marry a Christian girl when no Muslim girls are available. Because Omar didn't allow it when he was a caliph. And when they asked Omar, why you don't want us to marry Christian girls, Omar said, I am afraid you might marry a floozy from among them. Omar used the word floozy. I don't want you to marry a floozy from among them. So Allah said, don't take the Christian girls for your girlfriends. And many of you in the room did not know Allah used the word girlfriend in the Quran. Subhanallah. You have the Quran in your house and you did not know Allah used the word girlfriend in the Quran. Surah 5 verse 5 from the Noble Quran. Allah said, don't take Christian girls for your girlfriends. You have the Quran in your house and you did not know Allah used the word girlfriend in the Quran. Surah 5 verse 5. The Noble Quran. It's a long ayah, isn't it? You can stop where Allah said girlfriend. Don't bring all the ayah. Any more questions? Russia's recently joined the crusade against the dollar. What do you make of this shade? Nobody wants the caliphate, neither the Christians and the Jews. They don't want the caliphate. So Russia is doing what the crusaders do, and that is to kill Muslims. Russia is they are crusaders. The Americans are crusaders. They are doing what crusaders do, and that is to kill Muslims. Nobody wants the caliphate. Only a sincere believer wants the caliphate. Now Allah said, if you don't unite with one caliphate, you're going to have fitna in the land and great fasad. Surah 8 verse 73. So when you ask me, what is my opinion of what Russia is doing? My answer is found in Surah 8 verse 73. Those who are kuffar are allies of each other. If you the Muslims don't put aside your differences and unite with one caliph to spread the deen, there will be corruption in the land. Russia will forever kill Muslims with impunity and immunity if you don't have a caliphate and unite under the caliphate. The answer for what Russia is doing is in Surah 8 verse 73. Bring all the ayah. If we were united, Russia could never get away with what they are doing, killing Muslims with impunity and immunity. Not until we implement Surah 8 verse 73, Russia will forever be killing Muslims, as well as the USA and the other countries. Next question. I'm taking 5 questions. What is the punishment? What is the punishment for not praying and also praying past its due time? Can you also give advice to people who find it hard to pray? And the reason why you find it hard to pray is because you don't love Allah. Anyone who finds it hard to pray, their iman is weak and they don't love Allah. If they love Allah, they would be like the Sahabas who wait in the masjid in earnest. They wait in earnest for the next salah to come for them to pray because they love Allah. They were horsemen in the daytime and they were saints at night praying to Allah for many hours. And if you were in Jahiliyyah and you missed 4, 5, 6 years of not praying, for 5 years you didn't pray because you were in Jahiliyyah, the Hanafi Madhab said you have to make it up. The Hanbali Madhab said you don't make it up, you make Tawbah. You make Tawbah. The correct opinion is the opinion of the Hanbalis. You don't make up the 5, 6 years of Salah you missed because of Jahiliyyah. All you do is to make Tawbah. But the Hanafis said, we beg to differ, you have to make it up. You have to make up the 5 years that you missed because you owe Allah 5 years of Salah. This is the Hanbali fiqh. Yeah, however, the Hanafis said you make it up. The Hanafis refused to let you off. The Hanafis said you have to make it up. The correct opinion is the Hanbali opinion. The correct opinion is the Hanbali opinion. Maybe you can find a fatwa of Uthaymeen about it. I learned this in school way back in 1990. Maybe you can find a fatwa of Uthaymeen about it. If you pray past your time, you have done a sin because Salah has to be performed at its right time. If you are a traveler or you are busy, you can join your prayers. So you are allowed to pray Zuhr at Asr time and you are allowed to pray Maghrib at Isha time and join the prayers if you are busy. The Hanbalis allow you to join your prayers if you are busy. Why? Because Umar allowed a man to join his prayers because he was busy baking bread. If you are busy, you can join your prayers. Therefore, you can pray Dhuhr at Asr time and you can pray Maghrib at Isha time because you're busy. Why the Hanbalis allow you to join your prayers if you're busy? Because Umar allowed a man to join his prayers because he was busy baking bread. He was busy making bread. So he allowed him to join his prayers. This is Hanbali fiqh. And the Shafi fiqh as well. Only the Hanafis don't allow you to join your prayers. The Hanafis, they make the deen a burden on the people because they don't allow people to join their prayers. The correct opinion is the Hanbali opinion. You can join your prayers if you are busy or you are a traveler. You can join and shorten prayer if you're a traveler. However, if you are not a traveler, you are allowed to join but not shorten. However, if you are not a traveler, you are only allowed to join but not shorten the prayer. Only travelers are allowed to shorten the prayers. Mujahideen are considered travelers, so they can join and shorten. Mujahideen can join and shorten because they are considered travelers. Um, the Mujahideen can shorten after traveling 3 miles. The Mujahideen can shorten and join after traveling 3 miles. 3 miles. After 3 miles, they can join and shorten. Okay, find the hadith in Sahih Muslim where the Prophet used to join his prayers and shorten after 3 miles. Go to Muslim and find the hadith. The Rasul There's a very famous hadith in Muslim where the Prophet used to shorten and join his prayers after traveling 3 miles. So the Mujahideen can do that as well. Ibn Taymiyyah believes Muslims are allowed to shorten and join their prayers after 3 miles. So if you work 3 miles from home, you can shorten and join your prayers. This is the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah, and it's the correct opinion. Anybody who lives 3 miles from home and they work, you can shorten and join your prayers after 3 miles. This is the opinion of Ibn Taymiyyah, and it's the right opinion to make the deen easy on the people. No, I want where it says 3 miles. That's not the right hadith. Type in the word 3 miles. That's the one I want. Where the Prophet joined after 3 miles. Because this room is authentic Tawheed, everything I say, I want it to be supported with Quran or Hadith. So if I say you can join after 3 miles, I want the Hadith. It's a famous Hadith in Muslim, where the Prophet used to join after 3 miles. The Prophet joined after 3 miles. Go find the Hadith. Okay. No, that's not the hadith I want. The hadith is in Muslim. The Prophet used to join his prayers after traveling 3 miles. That's not the hadith I want. It's in Muslim. The Prophet used to join his prayers after 3 miles. Anas ibn Malik, about shortening of prayers, he said the Messenger of Allah had covered a distance of 3 miles of Razak. He observed 2 rakah. Yes, this is the hadith I want. I don't want the other ones because they are not relevant. That's the one I learned from my sheikhs. The hadith I learned from my sheikhs. The Prophet joined after 3 miles, and Ibn Taymiyyah acted upon this hadith. You can delete the rest. I don't want them. They are not relevant to what I'm saying. When I even remember the sheikh was smiling when he quoted the hadith and said Ibn Taymiyyah acted upon the hadith. But the sheikh did not say, I agree with Ibn Taymiyyah. All he did was to smile and said Ibn Taymiyyah used to join his prayers after 3 miles. I remember the sheikh smiling as if to say it happened yesterday. But he didn't say He agreed with Ibn Taymiyyah. All he did was to smile in the classroom. So Ibn Taymiyyah joined his prayers after 3 miles. He acted upon the hadith found in Muslim. I'm taking 5 questions. Where are the other questions? Stop asking me about Syria and Russia, because I told you, Russia, they are crusaders. Sheikh Asim Al-Hakim of Saudi Arabia posted on Facebook yesterday that Russia is targeting Mujahideen, not ISIS, and Al-Nusra, who are the Mujahideen he refers to. Russia is not targeting ISIS. I'm not sure that is the truth. ISIS is difficult to target because they are not gathered in one section. ISIS changed their strategy because of aerial bombardments. ISIS are more skillful in avoiding being hit by the kuffar with bombs because they learned from Kobani how to avoid bombings. So when Russia failed to bomb ISIS, it's because they are not intelligent enough to bomb ISIS Mujahideen. They are not intelligent enough. ISIS learned over the years how to avoid aerial bombardments. Jabhat al-Nusra, they are not skillful in avoiding aerial bombardment. ISIS have changed their strategy. They don't gather as a big unit anymore. They spread themselves thin. So the Kafirs don't know where is the target. So don't think Russia wouldn't like to kill ISIS. They would like to. It's just that they are not intelligent enough. So don't think Russia makes a difference between ISIS and Jabhat al-Nusra. ISIS doesn't make a difference between Jabhat al-Nusra and ISIS and the Free Syrian Army. As long as you are an enemy of Assad, they are going to kill you. So why are they bombing Jabhat al-Nusra but not ISIS? Because they are not intelligent enough to find ISIS Mujahideen. They spread themselves thin. They don't cluster as one big unit and leave themselves vulnerable to aerial bombardment. They mix with the population and hide among the population. So the kuffar don't know who to bomb. And then they do hit and run operations. And they use a small amount of brothers to do an operation. And when they make a big hit, they use martyrdom operations to make a big hit. So because of the martyrdom operations that they are carrying out, sometimes 10 brothers can kill 1,000 Kafirs. 10 Muslim brothers of ISIS can kill 1,000 Kafirs because they use martyrdom operations to carry out their hits. Asim Al-Hakim is a Saudi Salafi, and he is working for the Saudi government. You can take fatwas from him that are not political fatwas. You cannot take Tawheed Hakimiyya from Asim Al-Hakim because he's a Madkhali, a Saudi Salafi. Next question. I take one last question. Where is the limit for a wrong ijtihad? Can a wrong ijtihad justify taking rights of others? Don't forget the Prophet said when the mujtahid makes his ijtihad, if he is wrong, he gets 1 reward, and if he's right, he gets 2 reward. And don't forget, you are not allowed to make ijtihad when the text is clear. So you're asking me, where is the limit for ijtihad? The limit is, it is haram to make ijtihad when the text is clear. So ijtihad has a limit. Ijtihad has a limit. And the limit is, it is haram to make ijtihad when the text is clear. So when people say Bin Baz made ijtihad to allow the American army in the Holy Land, we say to you, Bin Baz made ijtihad when the text is clear. And the text says, drive out the Jews and the Christians from the Arabian Peninsula. Drive out the Jews and the Christians from the Arabian Peninsula. So how can you make ijtihad when the text is clear? When you bring them there, they're going to say, can we have churches? Can we have a Hindu temple? They are asking Dubai, can we build a Hindu temple in Dubai? And the Kafirs in Dubai said, yes, you can build a Hindu temple. So they have betrayed the blood of the Sahabas who fought to rid the Arabian Peninsula of paganism. The Arabs in Dubai, they want to bring paganism back because they're going to say to the Indian Prime Minister, yes, you can have your Hindu temples, no problem. Because these Arabs in the Gulf, they are called pagan Arabs. What are they called? Pagan Arabs. They don't believe in Islam. So when the Indian Prime Minister went there, they said, yes, you can have your Hindu temple. You can't make ijtihad when the text is clear. Can a wrong ijtihad justify the rights of others? You cannot use a wrong ijtihad to take away the rights of others. That is called dhulm. And Allah said in a hadith, يَا عِبَادِ إِنِّي حَرَّمْتُ الظُّلْمَ عَلَى نَفْسِي وَجَعَلْتُهُ بَيْنَكُمْ مُحَرَّمًا فَلَا تَظَلَمُوا. O my servants, I have made oppression haram on me, Allah, and I have made oppression haram amongst you, so don't oppress each other. To take away the rights of others with a wrong ijtihad is called dhulm. And the person who did the ijtihad, maybe he's corrupt. Did you think about that? Maybe he's corrupt. That's why he did a wrong ijtihad to take away the rights of others. Maybe he was bribed to make a wrong ijtihad to take away the rights of others. One question, bring it. Can you offer tips and advices how to memorize the Holy Quran? Whenever you are memorizing the Quran, you have to recite one ayah 19 times. Each ayah you want to recite, you have to recite it 19 times until it sticks. When it sticks, you go to the second ayah and do the same, recite it 19 times, and then it sticks. When it sticks, you go to the third ayah and do the same, recite it 19 times. And some ayahs, you don't need to recite it 19 times. Maybe you only need to recite it 5 times. Some ayahs are more difficult than other ayahs. So when I say recite one ayah 19 times until it sticks, I'm talking about the more difficult ayahs. And when you recite 5 ayahs, when you memorize 5 ayahs, then you take on another 5. So try to memorize the ayahs 5 by 5. 5 by 5. And when you memorize 10 ayahs, you start to recite them in your salah. Use them in your salah. You pray 5 times a day every day. Use the ayahs you recite in your salah. Stay away from sins. Because sins make you lose your taqwa, and it destroys your knowledge. It destroys your memory. People with bad memory is because of their sins. So people who look at porn, it's difficult for them to memorize the Quran. Because they watch porn. So for them to memorize the Quran is very, very difficult. One day Imam Shafi was walking down the road and the breeze blew up the dress of a woman. And he saw the leg of the woman. And he started to forget the Quran. All he did was to see the the leg of a woman accidentally, and it caused him to forget some verses of the Quran. It affected his memory. So he complained to his sheikh. His sheikh is called Waqi'. That's the name of his sheikh, Waqi'. Imam Shafi said, Shakawtu ila Waqi' su hifdi. I complained to my sheikh Waqi' about my bad memory. فَأَرْشَرْنِي إِلَى تَرْكِ الْمَعَاصِي, and he told me to abandon sins. Then he said, know that knowledge is a gift from Allah, and Allah will never give His knowledge to the sinners. Knowledge is a barakah from Allah, and Allah will never give this barakah to the sinners. So stay away from sins if you want to memorize the Quran. Stay away from hypocrites if you want to memorize the Quran. Stay away from TV if you want to memorize the Quran. Don't become a TV addict. Don't become an internet addict. Don't be addicted to Facebook and addicted to Instagram and all the other rubbish they have out there. Don't be an internet addict, a TV addict if you want to memorize the Quran. You have to love the Quran if you want to memorize the Quran. Stay away from social media if you want to memorize the Quran. Stick to one print. My sheikhs told me this. You want to memorize the Quran, you have to stick to one print. Don't use 2, 3, 4 different prints. If you use 2, 3, 4 different prints, you confuse your brain. Your brain has to become accustomed to one Quran, one print. So if you like the print that came out of India, stick to that. If you like the print that came out of Saudi Arabia, stick to that. Don't use 2 different prints. People use 2 different prints, they can't memorize the Quran because they confuse their brain. Your eyes and your brain has to become classically conditioned to one print. This is how you memorize the Quran. I hope I give you sufficient tips. That was the last question. I'd like to thank Authentic Towards 19 for the notes. I'd like to thank Authentic Towards 6 for the Hujjah. I'd like to thank Bint Zaki for helping to post the Hadith Hujjah. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. I will now relinquish the mic. Sorry, I'd like to thank our sister Nusayba for helping to post the Hujjah. I will relinquish the mic.